Once upon a time, two singles met online and started a podcast, the Computer Love Podcast. Let's go. We back. What's up? 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 What is up? I am Jay Reed. And as always, I'm accompanied by my beautiful co-host, none other than Shaquetta Shantae.
Hey, y'all.
And we are back for another episode of the Computer Love Podcast, Season 2, Episode 2.
We do.
That's how we do. Chuck at them twos. About to get through. What you gonna do? Alright. We are back, y'all. And as always, my baby is about to open it up with the church announcements.
Hey, back again like we never left. And I'm back with some more announcements. First, definitely want to encourage you all, if you have not done so yet, stop what you're doing. Go ahead and subscribe to the Computer Love Podcast. Go ahead. Find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok. All of the above. Go back, catch up, so that way you can see some of the things that you've missed if you're just joining us.
You got to get the whole journey. Like we started from the bottom. Now we here. So you got to get the whole journey.
Go get the entire journey. Sit with us, laugh with us, learn, grow with us, all of the above. So if you have not done so, I encourage you to go back, see, where we started in episode 1, season 1, and now we are here in season 2, episode 2. So if you have not done that, go do that. Comment, if it was something that you saw then and you like, y'all need to revisit that. I want to see that again, or I need you to go a little deeper and a little more in depth to that. Definitely let us know. We are not opposed to that at all. Secondly, if you have not followed the Pump Power Podcast, go ahead. What you waiting on, sis? I know you're looking for a little inspiration, a little motivation. I know you like to, on your way to work, just start your day off, start with a nice tone, and really just get some self-love, some self-care, some self-motivation. I have done 2, 3 total, with the trailer, the introduction, and then 1 interview that was actually already shared. But the next 2 that I have coming up, I promise you, you do not want to miss that.
Oh. Fire, y'all. She about to bring the heat.
You don't want to miss it. Literally, I can't tell you yet. I cannot tell you yet, because the next one, sis is going to get you all the way together. She's going to, she might snatch your edges, but she gonna make sure she play some bag. She's gonna take care of you. We had a really good conversation. I cannot wait to dive into that for you all to listen. She's one of my favorites on TikTok. Just know, you don't want to miss it. So you can find me on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. My Instagram page is pump_power. The TikTok for that is pump_power. And then the podcast is the Pump Power Podcast. So it's just really encouraging women to stand on their stories. Other women are sharing their stories of success, the struggle, because sometimes we don't want to talk about it, but it's really what shaped us and molded us into the women that we are today. So I definitely want to make sure that you share that. And if you know a woman that should be featured, she has an amazing story, you want her on the front line, let me know. Slide in the DM, keep it professional, because if not, I'm going to kick you back out. But definitely, just ladies, let me know. I'm ready. This is going to be a great season for both the Pump Power podcast and definitely for the Computer Love podcast.
Amen. Anything else?
That's all we got.
Hit him with the motivation, babe. Hit him with some motivation.
So, this past week has been really motivational for me. And it's really been, I would even say like life-changing, just because of the conversations I've been able to have with such phenomenal women. I love women. I love their stories. I love their impact. And what I want to say and motivate you is to know that when you are helping another woman, another man, another, sister, brother, however you're looking at them, whenever you're helping someone else climb the ladder or you're helping them brighten their light, it does not dim yours. So it's so important for you to know that it is okay to support another woman. It is okay to support a colleague. It is okay to support your friend. It is okay to support your family. There's also blessings in your support as well. You never know how supporting someone else will connect you to people, connect you to resources that is going to take you to the next level as well. I can't tell you how many women or how many influential people I've met by going to support somebody else. Like literally no, the motives were all good. Like, I want to go support my friend. And in that, being in that space of supporting another friend or supporting another woman, I was also able to meet other powerful women who were able to help propel, help push, help create, help lift where I was in my journey or am in my, career or different things. So just know that there's also blessings when you're able to support somebody else. So the motivation is in this moment is to support another woman, support another man. Like if you're a guy, listen to this, just support.
Help a brother out.
Support, you guys. It's so important. It's so much that's tied to that. Being able to support somebody else and to celebrate them in their season. It can definitely open up the door for you to have a successful season and seasons to come.
Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend.
I'll help you carry on.
For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
Lean
Just
on
call
me.
on my brother if you need a hand. We all need somebody. Come on.
Lean on.
Hey, support a brother. Help a brother out. Do it with your whole heart.
That's it.
And good things
help
will
a brother
happen.
out, help a sister out, help your partner out, help your mother out, your father out. However you can support somebody else, do it. Okay? Do it. It is okay to support somebody else without taking away from what you have going on. Everything isn't a competition. It's not. Sometimes you in competition secretly with somebody and they have no idea. Support that person. Support and do it earnestly. Do it honestly. Do it with love. Do it with passion.
The only person you're in competition with
should be yourself.
It's your damn self. All right, let's get into the chat room.
Chat room. Yeah.
Nope. Did we play that? Oh, yeah, we played that in the beginning of the show, right? Chat room. What we got?
So this question is actually coming from a gentleman. And he says, my communication isn't always the best. I can be kind of hard. I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm a man. How do I communicate in a way that I don't feel soft, but my girl feels loved?
Brother, when you figure that out, let me know. Because you sound like me right there, man, for real. You sound like me. I don't know, baby. I'd love for you to answer it because you can get into how I communicate. If I communicate too soft or too hard, or what I can do to prove, or I don't know, like.
So I think to answer this gentleman's question is, when it comes to your girls, when it comes to your woman, be soft. Be soft, because there are times that you're going to need to land on her and you need a soft landing. Mm-hmm. And so I think that the best way...
What does that mean, be soft?
Being a soft landing. So...
no, telling the man to be soft, what does that mean?
So, yeah. So what I want him to think about is making it a soft place for her to land emotionally. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't mean like... I think when I read his question, it felt like being soft, like he's not masculine. It's taken away from his masculinity to...
No, what he means is being soft as in being in a position or doing something to where he's putting himself in a position where he can be taken advantage of. Like being soft, like he feels like I think he's gonna get played or be a simp or something like that is probably what he's talking about.
So I think the best way to do that is take yourself out of the equation. When your partner needs something, it's no longer about you. Mm-hmm. So you have to kind of remove, like, how is this making me look? Mm-hmm. Or how am I going to be viewed? Mm-hmm. And that's by an outside force or inside. But what does she need me to be in this moment? Yeah. And if that means that if she's emotionally going through something or wanting to share something with you, it shouldn't be, okay, well, if I'm a place for her to embrace and to feel love and to feel comforted, am I going to look like a simp if I do that for her? She needs you to be that.
Yeah. I think those are the easy things. I think that's where it's easy to be.
Sounds easy.
I think like if your girl is sad or something like it's easy to do that. But I think the problem comes in when maybe the problem is you or she's upset with you and you have to like apologize. And now, but even though you don't think you're wrong, you think that she's wrong and she should apologize. But now she's like, she's crying or doing whatever. You have to console her, even though you're pissed off yourself,
So I think
you got to put your feelings to the side and I guess take it step by step.
So I think here, when you're looking at the question and it says like, I can be hard. Yeah. So if you know that, then that's something that you have to work on, because I think women can be hard too. Mm. But we know that you want somewhere soft to land.
Yeah.
And I don't think that a lot of times people look at it as if women need somewhere soft to land as well. And I think that we have to do a better job, women, a better job saying, no, I need a soft landing place as well. I need a soft landing place as well. Mm-hmm. And then men, I think you recognize it. I think you can see a shift in your partner's energy. Mm-hmm. And if you notice that, and if she's gotten quiet, then to say like, okay, it wasn't a soft landing space. Yeah. So being able to read each other. I
don't think it's so much that. I think so men probably want a soft landing. I don't think women want so much of a soft landing.
I'm a woman. I'm telling you.
I think women want more of a safe landing. Something more of a safe landing, something more strong and safe. Whereas a soft landing, a lot of women they don't want soft. They don't want to they don't want to relate soft with their man. So more of a safe, more of a comfortable, more of a secure understanding landing.
I think that is a beautiful way to put it. But it's okay for a man to provide a soft landing. Like, we want to see the soft side of you. Mm-hmm. Like, it's okay to say like, my man is in tune with his emotions as well. Mm-hmm. And there's a softer side of you.
Yeah. Okay. But just the word soft, I think we can just totally.
See, he's tied up in the.
No, yeah. Well, but yeah, because I mean, you need to speak to men the way they want to. Like, soft is not like, maybe they can be in touch, but it's not soft. Like, not the soft
baby,
that.
Baby.
Okay. Well,
baby, it's okay for you to provide like soft in your approach.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I mean, these are just words, and I'm just.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's important for this man to say that because he used hard. And so the opposite of hard is soft.
Right, but he doesn't want to be soft, and I don't think he needs to be soft.
Baby, this is I'm
Let
just
me,
this
my
is
bad. Let me not give my advice. Then go
But
ahead.
no, I want you to give it, but I want us to actually answer
I am.
his, question without us saying, well, I don't think he wants that. Or so I'm just saying that the opposite of hard is soft. And me being a woman, that's also like, hey, I want to communicate this to you as well. We definitely want safety. We definitely want that space to feel safe in. But a part of that is saying like, yes, I want you to be open and vulnerable with me and me able to do that with you as well and not just provide that for you because like I said, for some women, they've had to be hard for a long time too, independently. And so they may not want to hear like I ain't soft. Like I'm not a soft, like ain't nothing about me soft. Like there's some women, but if you were to hear that, then it's like, oh, like that's like masculinity or whatever. But it's just things that people's experiences. But I think everybody can benefit from being soft.
I don't think most women want to be hard.
Yeah, I don't think they want to either. I think
so
they don't want to, but they've had to.
Don't want to be soft. So that's why I wouldn't describe him as being soft. I would say that I think
that's a good observation.
You can be these things and be the woman, but it doesn't mean you're soft.
Absolutely, guys. And if you're listening, don't get caught up in like the gentleman that asked the question. Don't get caught up in the terminology. But if
like we are doing,
right? Because hey, if you feel like, there are some men that will say like, hey, I don't mind like showing my softer side. You have to show it with your children. You have to like, do it in different aspects. So I don't want you to like put up a wall because a woman is asking like to see the softer side of you. However you want to, if you want to use vulnerable, use it. But just to answer your question directly and say, how can you do that? Take you out of the equation. When somebody needs something from you, it no longer becomes about me in that moment. Like if they came to me and I have it to give, then I'm going to give it. Like the emotional part of it. I ain't talking about money, like, but just saying like, if you're coming to me and I know that you had a bad day or whatever the case may be, or if somebody's watching or whatever, none of that even matters to me of how it looks or what is that doing to my image. If my partner is needing something from me and I'm seeing that and I'm wanting to like give that to that person, then I think the first thing is you have to do is one, study that woman, study her. If you see that she needs a different side of you, or when you give her that, she reacts and responds differently, then you'll know like, okay, I'm noticing when I say it a certain way, if I do it a certain way, then she responds and she reacts differently. And I like when she reacts and responds this way versus if I do have a harder approach, she shuts down. Because that's not something that a woman wants in a man either. Like we don't want to shut down. We don't want you to be so hard that we shut down. So just study her. I think every woman will be different, but you definitely have to study the one that you are with and just realize that it doesn't matter like what your homeboys say. Like if she's needing you to come home and you out with the boys and they're like, oh, you a sucker, your wife, she wants you to come home. But if she needs you to be there, go. That's the best way. Learn her, grow with her, grow together.
Amen. I don't think that you should be concerned about whether you're hard or soft or not, though, to be quite honest with you. If you know who you are as a person and if you're worried about whether or not you're hard or soft, I think there might be like some type of insecurity that you have. Most men who are sure of themselves and know that they're not a soft man has no problem. It's kind of like just to use an analogy, like say like I'm not homophobic because there's no fear that I'll ever be gay. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay, but I'm so secure that, it wouldn't matter to me. Like if you said I look like I got lipstick on or some shit, whatever. I don't know, whatever you say. Or that looks gay. It doesn't really bother me because, I'm secure in myself. So I don't think like if you're talking to your wife, and I don't think you should be concerned about whether you're hard or soft, because if you know yourself and you know that you're not a soft person, then you can do soft things, I guess, because you know who you are as a person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it made sense at the end.
What?
Like when you said you don't, like, it doesn't matter, like you can do soft things without feeling like, oh, you're soft. Yeah, that definitely agree.
What didn't make sense?
I think when you were going back and forth for saying like it shouldn't matter, you shouldn't be concerned if you're hard or soft. Mm-hmm. But I think when he's saying like, hey, I can be hard, mm-hmm. like in my approach, mm-hmm. that's an actual reality for him. That's something that a self-observation. Mm-hmm. And I think that you can identify if you are, mm-hmm. your approach is harder or softer.
But he's saying, I don't want to come off
hard.
I want to communicate better, but I don't want to come across soft, is what he said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's worried about coming across soft, which he shouldn't be worried about coming across soft.
Yeah, agreed.
That shouldn't be a concern if you know who you are as a person. That's what I'm saying.
Agreed. I like it. So make sure you kind of really take time to go back in there and really do an evaluation of how you are communicating, literally. And I mean, out of all honesty, you cannot communicate with your homeboys or like male counterparts how you communicate with your wife, your woman. So you have to learn how to shift your communication style and technique, because I do agree you can talk to your guys, or if in this case it's guys, but as a woman you can talk to your girls in a certain way as well that is not okay to talk to your partner in.
All right, main topic.
Topic of the day.
Can you avoid emotional trauma in relationships? And how?
Can you avoid emotional trauma? Mm-hmm. I think that's the ultimate goal. I mean, I think that you want to. Right. I don't think that people try to go for it, so I don't think it's something that most people don't seek. So if you do catch yourself, experiencing emotional trauma, I do think that it's not intended. So how to avoid that? First comes with picking your partner. Then it comes down to picking your battles. It comes down to communication. It's a lot, but can you avoid it? I mean, I'm not going to say that if it happens to you, it's your fault. Something like life happens. I mean, trauma happens. Sometimes you have to go through trauma to appreciate a relationship that has no emotional trauma. So I don't know. I think, can you avoid it? Yeah, of course you can avoid it. I mean, you can avoid a lot of things by sitting in your room and not going anywhere. But if you're going to go out there and experience life and put your heart on the line, you're going to get hurt. I mean, you just are.
Yeah. Emotional trauma is inevitable. I definitely think that it's something that's going to happen. If you are in a long-term like relationship, or if you are in a like marriage, you should try with everything in you to avoid causing emotional scarring, emotional injury, emotional trauma for the person that you are with. And it actively takes you, one, fighting fair, because I think that sometimes people do mean to cause, they say things because they know it'll hurt a person. Mm-hmm. And that you have control over. Mm-hmm. So that goes to like fighting fair. Because when you have already said something that you knew was going to hurt, so you knew you were saying it because you knew it was a jab or a low blow or whatever the case may be. But the trauma that comes after what has been said, maybe you did not mean to cause. But now that it's happened, what do we do? Right. Like, how do we do it? Or how do we like come back from that? And sometimes, depending on how bad it is, sometimes you don't come back from it. And that can cause some relationships to end, some friendships to end, because it was an emotional injury that could not be repaired, or could not be fixed, or could not be, it didn't have time. Like, either you didn't give it time to heal, or it just couldn't. It just couldn't happen. How do you avoid that? You have to, and this is, I want to be clear, because this can definitely apply to like friendships and relationships, more importantly, as you're building relationships, building a marriage, whatever. Studying that person. You know what hurts your partner. You know what makes them smile. You know what makes them laugh. You've seen things that like really makes them shut down. So I think the way that you avoid that is try to be more intentional, even when it's hard to communicate, like being intentional with it. So maybe instead of saying something that you know that's going to hurt that person, just stop for a moment. Like, you know what? I don't think we can continue this conversation just yet. Like, I don't want it to get nasty. I don't want it to get ugly. I feel my, the next thing I might say might cut instead of heal. So I want to let's pull away from it. So being honest in those moments and saying like, let's revisit this conversation. Or if it's on the other way, like if it's emotional trauma that you did not cause, that is something that person brought into the relationship or to the friendship, and then everything that you say or you do, it triggers it, then that leads to a different conversation as well. Now you are responsible for helping this person heal in this aspect. What does that look like? Do we go to therapy? Do we do counseling? Do you do individual therapy and counseling? So I think there's different levels to like emotional injury, emotional trauma. And if it's caused in your relationship, did it happen before your relationship? And then more importantly, if it did happen in your relationship, how do we not continue to make that type of mistake repetitively?
Right.
So that is the biggest thing that I would say is take the time to really see your partner. Because if you see something that has hurt them, you see they're shutting down, you see their communication has shifted, don't just be like, well, I mean, she'll get over it. Well, he got to get over it. Like, I mean, I said what I said, and that's how I felt about the situation. And you see them hurting. Like, we have to know why are we in this? Every time that you have a concern, or every time that you have something that may come up, we have to remember, like, we are not enemies. So what I would pull out, like that lethal weapon that I know could hurt you, do I really want to hurt you? Or do I really just want you to understand me? Do I really want you to hear me?
Right.
So that's how you can avoid it. You can avoid certain things by actually saying, like, what is the outcome? What do I want the outcome to be?
I think that though, that there's a lot more ways to experience emotional trauma than just through like those arguments though.
Yeah, for sure. It can be through cheating. It can be through it could not feeling help, like, getting the help.
It could be lack of communication, or like ignoring, or just antagonizing, or just whatever. But there's a lot of, even if you were to be the nicest person and communicate properly, there's other ways where you can experience emotional trauma. So it's like, how do you avoid it? Yeah.
So I think again, it's open communication too, like being open and saying what hurts, what hurts me, what doesn't hurt me. Because I think sometimes too, a person may act like something doesn't bother them, or their response may, really show that, hey, I mean, whatever, I don't care. And you really do care. So being able to say, that hurts.
Right.
Like, you may have felt like you said it in a good, tone, or you were nice about it, but it hurt. It still hurt me. So then that changes the conversation of like, okay, now it's not that what I said or how I said it, but it's like, okay, was this still an attack on my partner? Even though I said it well, I said it nice, she still communicated that it still was hurtful. And it's okay for them to explain, well, hey, how could I have said this differently? How could I have brought this up differently? How could I have shared this with you, my concern, my feelings with you, without making you feel less than or something that, you're not doing or whatever. So.
And I think that it's important that when you're doing that the other person actually has to listen. If the reply is, well, all I did was, then this conversation is over.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm telling you that this is bothering me, or if I'm telling you that I didn't appreciate that, and that the reply is, well, all I did was, then there's no, because we're trying to tell you, trying to get you to understand how we feel about something, but if you're not even willing to understand it, then you're gonna have problems. So I think communication is a big one for sure. But I don't know. I think that if you're in a good relationship and you guys, if you both of your guys' goals is to have a good relationship, and then I think there's a better chance of avoiding emotional what do we say?
Emotional trauma.
But if it's a toxic relationship, which some people tend to enjoy, then the chances of emotional trauma are for sure. But I mean, like I said in the beginning, emotional trauma is something that like breaking a bone. It's like, can you avoid it? Yeah, but you just never know. Things can happen.
And if you're one of those people that think you enjoy toxic relationships, go to therapy. Go to therapy, because there's something underneath that it may be something that you experienced as a child, you saw as a child, and you think that it's normal. But there's no way that like you can fully say that you like enjoy being in toxic relationships. I think sometimes people will forget the toxicness that occurred when it gets back to the things that they really enjoyed about the person or about the relationship or the, good times. But I agree. The communication is most important in determining emotional trauma, avoiding emotional trauma. So really figuring out a safe space to communicate any and everything. And that takes work. So I think, people like to say, well, when I'm mad, like I don't want to I can't create a safe place. Well, that's not the time to communicate it.
And also you got to understand that not everyone is coming together from a full point of view. Like some people are coming with their glass completely empty. Some could be like overly empty, like they owe people. So I mean, some people come from where they need a lot of help and they need a lot of support, where not to make a poor analogy, but it's kind of like adopting a dog. Some dogs come happy and healthy and ready to go and love, and some dogs come abused and they need more love and patience. And everyone's not coming together at the same place.
Absolutely.
So I mean, there's the potential for toxicity, if that's the word we're using. It varies. It varies. Not everyone's just mentally healthy and just, got it all together,
And I think that still goes back to communication. I think that both parties have to be honest with their, like, where they are in their emotional healthiness. Mm-hmm. And it's, to say, okay, I recognize that I haven't had the best experiences when it comes down to, my emotional health. So I know that one, I have to work on that because people can't use that as like an out. You know what I'm saying? But to say like, I recognize that this is something that I need to grow in. And so I'm asking for you to help me in this. I'm asking for your support. I'm asking for grace, but I'm not asking you to accept this as is. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, hey, because everybody agreed. You may come in, more healthy in one area of the relationship, and I'm going to come more healthy in another area. So we can say like finances, we can say emotional or whatever, and whatever the strong points are versus the points where needs more work on, then that's when we have to be vulnerable with one another to say, hey, like, babe, I recognize that like I struggle in this area.
But you also have to know that what you're getting into, if you know that you're adopting a dog that has emotional issues, you need to know that this is what I'm taking on, and I have to have the capacity to love this creature, knowing what I'm taking on. So it's not that, I'm saying, because kind of sounds like you're saying you got to complete each other, but it's not necessarily you need to complete each other. But if you are taking on something that you know is going to be, like say you love this person, but you know that these couple of things are an issue, but I'm going to work with it. I'm going into it knowing these are an issue, but I'm going to work on it because it's worth it. Then you just have to, don't forget that those were an issue. Now you act like those aren't supposed to be issues anymore. You lose the patience to work on those things. No, you knew it was an issue. Not saying that they have to remain an issue, but you have to have the patience to work on those things.
So I think that that's really a really good point, because sometimes you don't see their issue until you've already gotten into it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that we have to just give people grace in that, because everybody puts on their best everything in the beginning. And so a lot of times you don't know what you're getting until you've already gotten it.
Now you're like, oh, you sold me you sold me a he sold me a bad product. Like this wasn't.
This wasn't on the shelf. This was not what it was. So don't tell me. So that's where the open and honest communication comes in at. Like if you know that there's something about yourself that you have to work on, or you're working on, or whatever, and when that point does come up to that person, if you never told them, and when it does, then it is like, whoa, you did not communicate like this in the beginning. But now that you're comfortable, now that we're comfortable, now the representative is gone, and I won't even say representative, because I think sometimes that can be like misused. But now that the comfortability is set in, and I don't feel like I have to bring my A game every single time, then I'm really airing out. I'm really letting him see some of these like flaws and characteristics. And it's just like, this is it. So what you gonna do? You gonna deal with it because this is who I am. And it can't be that. It's like, okay, no, like I'm not good in this area. Yeah. And I need to take on that.
A couple episodes ago, I think it might have been last episode, we talked about independence and how like you always having one foot out the door, or making sure that I'm good, regardless. And I think a lot of it is that right there. What you just said was that, if you get into a situation, and probably I'll speak for myself, why I have a tendency to feel like that way, or to be, independent, to where, I'll be fine regardless on my own if this all just crashes. Because like you just said, you can get into a relationship with somebody, and then now there's somebody that you didn't realize they were in the beginning, and they're not going to change this. And then it's like, I'm out, but if you were in the position to where, if you were dependent on that person and now they change and turn into this monster that you can't deal with, unfortunately, a lot of women find themselves like with abusive partners, because now they're dependent, they can't leave, and this great guy is now whipping on their butt, every day. Yeah. But men can get into those positions too, like they're in a position with a woman who's mentally abusive, or even physically maybe. But that's why I think that that's the reason why a lot of times we want to maintain our independence. That way, things like that happen, bounce.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I mean, and that's never a good place to be.
Right.
Because I will say, like, now, the difference is that a person can't pretend but for so long. And when I say that, because you don't know what you're getting immediately. Sometimes, in most cases, it takes a little time. It takes a little time to like see people or whatever. But by the time you are like getting serious, or after you become serious and you're like literally heavily dating long term, and then maybe contemplating marriage or in marriage, during that time, like I'm going to say at least a year. If you've been at least a year of knowing this person, you've already kind of seen some of the things that may be alarming and red flags.
You've seen some flags flying.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, now we have to address these things before we move any further, because I'm not, going to tolerate the, I was about to say physical abuse for it, because I feel like that's, in my opinion, that's a non-negotiable for me. Like if somebody was to physically hit me, it's no discussion after that. But there, if it's something like, disagreements and like, maybe I see, how you respond to certain things. And I didn't see that before, because before you were more cool, calm, and relaxed. And then the first time that I saw you, get woo, like crazy, then that's a discussion. But so I had to clear that up, because I know people that have been in abusive, like physically abusive relationships, and know how hard that can be to leave. So I do think something like that, if that happens on a first time man or woman, you need to leave, because in most instances that happens again. The way you communicate, that may not happen again, like all the time, but physical, most times that's like a deep rooted, something. So yeah, that independence and interdependence was something we did discuss on the last one. And it's definitely always something to really just kind of continue talking about.
So long story short, fellas, ladies, you got to bob and weave. You got to bob and weave out there in this world, in this journey we call life, because they're going to be throwing them punches at you every which way they can. You got to bob and weave. You got to.
That was like not the long story.
Like a bee. No, because you're gonna. It's out there. I mean, you can't. It's hard to avoid being hurt. You got to bob and weave, and you got to. You do. Get my analogy. You got to bob and weave to avoid being hurt, because life is throwing sticks and stones at you every day. This life is a challenge.
It is.
Well, maybe for you it's easy. She got it easy, like, cause she about to be married to me. But everyone is not that fortunate.
Trust me. Let me just go ahead and say that. No, don't put that out there.
Not everybody is lucky as you, babe.
Yeah.
Just because your future looks so bright.
Right. But I mean, you was talking directly to the fellas. You was telling the fellas.
I said fellas and ladies.
Okay, just I want to make sure.
Bob and weave,
That was the long story short.
Long story short.
Okay, y'all. The closing question of
what
the day.
What it is.
What are you most grateful for in your partner?
Ooh, you trying to get all personal and stuff. I see. Do we got like some smooth music for this one? What am I most grateful for in my partner?
In your partner. Mm-hmm.
The thing that I'm most grateful for is your, at the end of the day, whether we argue, whether you upset me, whether you annoy me, or whatever, at the end of the day, I always know that you want peace. You don't want to keep it going. Like it's never your goal to keep an argument going for an extended amount of time. If we can solve it, I think you're always on the side of solving it. And I don't like tension. I don't like to be at odds. And and I don't like drama. I think most men just want peace, and I think you can really be a bringer of peace. Now, I'm not saying that you don't.
The question was.
Yeah, I think you can be a bringer of peace.
You right.
So I think that because I think that's what you want at the end of the day. You don't thrive off of being at odds and just hurting anybody. Yeah. How about you?
What am I most grateful for in my partner? I'd say your ability to, like, you're a handyman, and I'm very grateful
that's what you like
for
most?
that.
I'm a handyman?
Yeah, that's important. That is really important to have someone around that, can fix things, can create things, that can bring like a vision together. Absolutely. That is not something to take for granted. And
I make dreams come true, baby.
okay. They asked me.
No, I'm trying to.
Don't try to. Y'all see how he do right. He try to dance his.
That's what you said. You said that. I bring realities.
What I said.
I create visions.
I said what I said, and what I said was.
Sound like you said I make dreams come true. That's what it sounded like you said.
No. I didn't say that.
I didn't make your dreams come true.
Listen, this one here. Let me stroke my baby.
Did I?
Let me stroke my baby. Yes, you did, honey bun. Yes, you did.
She can't even.
Yeah, tell me what I can't do. But mine was what I did. The question was, what do I appreciate, and what do we appreciate in your partner? And that is exactly what we did. We shared it in our own words. If you have not seen on our Computer Love podcast TikTok, you can go in and see one of the latest like projects that was created. Teamwork. So I'm excited because like we really got the living room part, like the living area downstairs.
She wanted this decorative wall, so I made her a decorative wall. Did the trimming and all that stuff, and now I'm working on building some barn doors for my man cave.
So excited about it.
That's
so
good. I'm glad you appreciate that about me, babe. I'm glad you appreciate that about me.
I do.
You know what time it is.
You know what time it is. It's time for hypothetical questions with Jesse and Shaquetta.
All right, we're going to close this show out, but instead of doing hypothetical questions, and I'm going to come up with a new intro sound for it, but I think that it'll probably be more fun instead of coming up with some random question that makes no sense and offers probably no value to anybody. I think we could give our movie or TV show recommendation up for the episode, like whether it's of the week or of the 2 weeks or whatever we put it out. But until next time, this is our recommendation. So my recommendation that I'm gonna get, that I just watched, that was actually really good, and I never really watched this guy or even knew who he was until I watched this episode or this show, and then I went back and kind of like watched all of his work. And I was like, man, this guy's actually really good. Gerard Carmichael. He has a show on Netflix called Rothaniel, and it's a stand-up comedy show, and it's kind of like it's I guess say reminiscent of Dave Chappelle, to where a style of more of a conversational style of comedy where he's just being really open and vulnerable, just basically telling a story, but it's interesting and funny at the same time. If you like stand-up comedy and you want to see something unique and I think pretty well, smartly done, and funny, but also pretty insightful, Rothaniel on HBO Max. Check it out, y'all. It's really good. That's my recommendation. What you got, babe?
Cool. I would recommend, and I hate that this did not come back on. I think it came on Netflix. It used to come on OWN, on OWN Network, but Love Is. It's really good. It's a really insightful journey of apparently like a real couple and like how they met and, you know, the progress of their relationship. And everybody I've seen has been talking about like they were so disappointed that the show was not.
How many seasons are there?
It was only one. It's only one season, and it was one of those. I will tell you now, if I find a show that like I like and there's like multiple seasons of it, I binge watch. So I'm not really a person that like to like wait for the next episode to come on. I prefer to like at least a few episodes that I can just kind of get caught up and watch it. So if you have not watched it, it really shared like their love story, things that they, you know, endured from like young up into like currently. And I think when it went off, they had been married for like 20 years. And it shows them like evolving in their relationship.
All in one season?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was really good. Yeah. So I can't remember what happened, you know, with it. I heard that like there was something, a backstory as to why it wasn't renewed. And I think it was something with the actual writer, like producer, whatever. But it was a really good one. So I had to watch that.
Love Is. All right. Go check out Rothaniel. Go check out Love Is. That's an episode. I'm your boy, Jay Reed. Shaquetta Shante on the mic. We out.